This weekend, I rewatched part of a film that I like called We the Living. It was originally shot in 1942 in Italy and produced there as two separate films, one named Noi Vivi, the other Addio Kira. The film was unauthorized by the author of the novel that it was based on, and in 1988, Ayn Rand, who authored the novel We the Living, supervised the re-editing of the film, and it was re-released under the name We the Living. Unfortunately, I didn't get to show off some of my swag from the movie this weekend, so I'm doing so in this video. As part of the re-release packaging, they included reprints of some of the stars' movie cards in Italian. Going from left to right, we have Alida Valli, who played Kira Argunova. You might recognize her from the movies The Third Man and also The Paradigm Case. The middle card is for Fosco Giachetti, who played Andrei Taganov. At the time the movie was filmed, he was the #1 box office draw in Italy. And then the other card on the far right is for Rossano Brazzi, who played Leo Kovalensky. The material also included press release photos, this one of the novel's author Ayn Rand, a photo of Alida Valli as Kira from the movie, a photo of the young lovers, Kira and Leo. I believe this is after they've been captured, attempting to escape the country. Finally, we have here a shot of a scene of confrontation between Kira, Leo, and Andrei. There's also a bunch of text, including a listing of the characters and who's responsible for the production, a synopsis of the movie, biographies of people associated with the movies, either as actors or producers, reproducers. There's also narratives explaining the film's rediscovery, putting the film in context of it being produced in fascist Italy, and a series of reviews and articles written about the re-release of the movie. I want to read from a section of A View into the Film World of Fascist Italy, which was written by Massimo Ferrara Santamaria, because it provides a glimpse into fascist censorship. He writes in part, approximately 6 months after the successful release of We the Living in Italy, I was notified at Scalera Productions of an injunction by the Secretariat of the National Fascist Party ordering the seizure of all materials. He further ordered a representative from Scalera to appear within 48 hours at a hearing before the director of the Fascist Party at their Rome headquarters. Mr. Michel Scalera, who was still the chairman of the board, told me, Massimo, you are not only the general manager of the company, but also the author of this film production. You have to answer for it, end quote. I was accused of having intentionally made an anti-totalitarian propaganda film against the fascist regime, which many people thought was responsible for waging a war against the wishes of the majority of the Italians. I stated that I was not responsible for Italian public sentiment. I had imagined We the Living as a beautiful story of love. It was concluded, however, that I was guilty of anti-fascist propaganda. Now, one reason why I read that and that I'm commenting on this movie in this video is that the themes reminded me very much of the tenor of the Obama-Pelosi attacks against their opponents, where they've effectively rhetorically convicted people of sedition And it makes me wonder how long before those rhetorical convictions become legal convictions. Let me try to wrap all this up. The original novel, We the Living, written by Ayn Rand, takes place in the early 1920s in Soviet Russia. She's very familiar with that period of time and that location because she lived there. She was a survivor of the Civil War between the Whites and the Reds, and she lived in Petrograd and went to school about that time before she was able to flee the Soviet state. Now, the Italians, the fascists, looking at this idea, viewed the novel as anti-communist, which it was anti-communist. However, more broadly, thinking conceptually, looking at principles, the novel is anti-totalitarian, so it is very much also anti-fascist. That was one of the reasons that this story was attractive to be made. It was made as an anti-fascist piece in fascist Italy. To put this in a time frame, We the Living was being created about the same time that Casablanca was being created. The Italians that were producing the movie were subject to censorship during the actual filming. They had to bring their work of what they were filming to the government to be approved, or else they would not be able to show it. They essentially created two different prints. The official print that would go to the censor in order to get approved, that would not demonstrate the anti-fascist nature of the movie but reflect the anti-communist nature, and then the actual print, the one that showed the full anti-totalitarian context of the movie, which was the version that was shown that was award-winning and eventually would cause the fascists to crack down on the production company that produced the film. When Ayn Rand was writing this novel, her original working title was Airtight, because what the novel displays is that vibrant, vital people cannot live, they cannot survive in a totalitarian state. It robs them of oxygen, it robs them of the sustenance that they need to sustain life. These two historical periods of Soviet Russia in the 1920s and fascist Italy in the 1940s relate to today in the United States, in that the agenda advanced by the Democratic Party, the Yes We Can sloganeering, is the advancement of a totalitarian state that isn't checked by individual rights, that individual rights have to be balanced and subordinated to the will and interests of the majority, that we risk approaching the type of democratic tyranny which Aristotle warned against. Therefore, I recommend, if you haven't seen the movie We the Living, that you do so, as it gives a glimpse on a dark potential future. Also, I'll put a link on the side to Duncan Scott Productions' YouTube page, where he's presented several clips from the movie.